Oh, I get the intro video up.
Actually, I have an intro video this week. So the actual intro to the show proper. Just get it good and pulled up here. Musical. He's a musical genius that I found on the internet.
I thought Ayrton was the musical genius you found on the internet.
No. He's played out.
Fair.
God damn it. It's hard to search for this because of who made it.
Oh, I just noticed the name to the stream, the $8 edition.
It'll be $8.
Nice. I closed out of Discord. I didn't need to do that.
Oh, well, probably for the best anyway. I mean, this is riveting content to start with, but
it is.
I figured, why open with any form of professionalness?
Hello, Dr. Brown Thumb. Calling Dr. Brown Thumb.
You guys hear this?
Yeah, I can see and hear this.
Good.
I'm not sure what I am seeing and hearing.
I'd like to stay kidding. You girls, like I need the wine. I still hear a fucking pig with a kill stream happen the new hill. Green screen effect, OBS connect. The NA can't keep the brown thumb in check. CBS don't mess with my spot. Please God, don't let me see no cops. Gun show ready to hit the live page. Won't get the mic in my eyes the right way. So I'm gonna holler a mumble.
The dedication, just alone.
A small prick, cause fuck that, I could be a huge 50 piece. All these dumb bitches can suck my dick. I barely function live when I'm drunk. Hello, my name is Dr. Brown Thumb. Hello, my name is Dr. Brown Thumb. I like to stick it in your girl's bum.
We're also probably copywritten in Germany now.
Oh, yeah.
No, I mean, this is public domain in Germany.
Bring it back one time. People can give to the power chat man when he's live streaming, drinking and driving and slurring. But thanks to Dr. Brown Thumb, we know he has backdoor front in the Memphis micro with the cold blast life in the man does he see. Lately bolder than fucking trophies. Psychotic seats at all of his shows. Somebody give him $1 in donos. He'd like to stop, but his deaths aren't good. Living now in a Mexican neighborhood. Lawyer in fees, he wants to leave him alone, but never ever gonna worry about his phones. What's that funny sound clanking on the floor? Sorry, Brown, I can't watch no more. Please don't holler because of your son. Hello, my name is Dr. Brown Thumb. Hello, my name is Dr. Brown Thumb. I'd like to stick it in your girl's bum.
I think there's one more verse.
Fucked on the seats, no need for rehab. If I can't drive, I drive, don't eat cabs. If I'm being honest, I'm pretty strung out. Like I said, sat in my little hideout. I just want the pills for me, there's no stop. Get fucked up till I call off the cops. That's what I tried to prove from all bums. That's why they call me Dr. Brown Thumb. The antithetical to principled one. Knowing I've got a few days till I'm done. Come on the court and see how I'm drunk. If you hear a pig, there's no need to run. Cause I'm just a pig and also Brown Thumb. But you never know what be the outcome. You see the wrong familiar stallion. I see this flowing with my projection. Look, I never told you where I was from. Some call me Rob, I'm Dr. Brown Thumb. Hello, my name is Dr. Brown Thumb.
We can thank Cognificent for that. I saw that in its completeness this week.
That is now the theme song. Should I ever get the game Neo Scavenger?
And then this one is for Rune.
Yes, Daddy.
Fuck.
Why do you want to make after you hear that?
Why exactly is that the one for me? I thought you would have pulled up the food bit that I showed you with the woman that was making the absolutely abysmal like taco pie, but no, apparently a woman squirting hand soap onto her own face. That's for me.
That was shampoo.
It was lotion. What's wrong with you two?
I mean, look, it puts the lotion on the skin or it gets the hose again. We all know how this works.
Yeah. Oh, don't worry. There's more Rune,
Oh, Jesus.
but that'll come later. So I'm curious, actually, Larry, you had ChatGPT write an adventure script?
Yes. I did the outline of Avengers script, and I posted in the chat the script that it gave me like a summary.
Yeah,
It's
I
not half
glanced
bad.
through it.
I mean, the summary is pretty basic, but it doesn't need to be really complicated. Issue 1, Spider-Man joins the Avengers as co-leader with Carol Danvers. The team is tasked with stopping a group of Hydra agents from unleashing a dangerous bioweapon. Along the way, Spider-Man and Captain Marvel butt heads over leadership styles. That's a basic comic book.
ChatGPT wrote Civil War 2.
Well, no,
Call it now.
this isn't involving Civil War because Civil War was retarded.
Yeah, but let's be extra clear. It wrote a basic comic book script, right? And before I took my nap, I was in there making suggestions of ways to refine it. So as a base, it's serviceable. You still need authors to elevate it to art. Because you started with one storyline, and I was actually proposing a way to expand it out to make a second storyline.
Right. But this is one of my ideas for if I could actually go to work for Marvel and think that, hey, Marvel, give me a chance to actually produce something. It's a storyline that covers all the Spider books, the Avengers books, and also covers Captain Marvel. And the plot line for the Captain Marvel book is Carol Danvers has to look weird, says, am I really the asshole all this time? Is that what the problem has been? And the answer to that question is yes.
And the answer to that question is yes. And I am actually enamored of the idea of a cogent story or a secondary story in which Cap and Iron Man, who are technically removed from the situation, have to prove that even if they're not friends, these two people can work together as a counterpoint to that shit show that was the Battle World story where Tony became a fascist and Cap's liberalist policies did not work on the Battle World because they were too busy slap fighting than trying to get off.
What are we talking about Battle World for? That was a Secret Wars thing. Civil War was the one where that happened.
No,
it also happened during Secret Wars.
Yeah.
Oh, the new one.
They had Cap and Tony leading separate enclaves by their subjective interpretation of politics.
That was a fucking. What was the name of that? The it was the Illuminati. That was some stupid Illuminati shit.
Doing nothing but being shitty to each other because we are led to believe that liberal ideologies and making money cannot live together.
Also, that was Time Runs Out, not Battle World.
Yeah, but I thought it was on Battle World.
No, it was before the final incursions that created Battle World.
Still fucking retarded.
And again, my favorite version of that storyline was the one that 4chan wrote, where Wakanda and Atlantis had a war because of Namor violating the toilet of King T'Challa.
Isn't that happened? Marvel's race war?
Well, no, this makes more sense than Marvel's race war, right? Namor takes a very unpleasant bowel movement in T'Challa's toilet, and he's like, "Bro, what the hell?" And he's like, "It wasn't me." And then that escalates into a war.
Oh, I saw a clip on the internet that, if true, just makes my face fucking hurt about this subject. So, Coogler, however the fuck his name is announced,
Ryan Coogler,
apparently, color coded the characters in the various Black Panther films, and this is admitted to by the costume designer, right? So the different factions of
He made them gangs.
Wakandans, the different colors of or the different factions of Wakandans wear different colored uniforms, reminiscent of different ethnic groups.
They're different. They're different major African ethnicities,
right? Except for the one that betrays them, because those guys wear blue.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, apparently Claw and Killmonger wear blue. Okay. Oh wait, all of the Atlanteans are blue, and this is to make them cops.
Mhm.
Which is not only wildly inappropriate for Africa, right, where they might feel differently about the police.
Are you
Also,
saying
the
there's
police
no police in Africa?
Well, no, the police in Africa don't all wear blue.
No, I'm saying that our anti-police biases in the African American community might not apply to Africa, which is not part of America.
Well, no, I'm saying that their police uniforms in Africa aren't even all blue.
No, they are often brown. But the other thing is like, why would anyone think that color coding would subtly catch people? I didn't fucking notice.
I was much more focused on how nothing made sense.
Right.
And we're going to be talking about something that doesn't make sense in a big stream of reviews I have. But I want to start off with things that were good and enjoyable, and then go towards
Link.
Okay, so
first
we're not gonna talk about DC versus Ruby because that's neither enjoyable
Well,
nor
no.
makes sense.
No, that goes further down the bottom. We're starting with good. The first link has the image I was going to pull up so that the chat can see the favorite of the things that I have in my review queue.
Okay.
All right.
So I watched a little series called Florida Man, and I picked this image in particular because this image really distills the Florida Man experience.
You mean the Florida experience?
Wait, they made a sequel to that show?
Well, I mean, being a Floridian, you are more equipped to judge whether or not it is accurate to the Florida Man experience.
Yes. So this show's about a.
Hold on. No, you didn't answer my question about the sequel.
This show?
Yeah.
This show hasn't been a sequel to anything.
Well, I'm sure I watched this show in the 90s. It was on HBO. Everyone was in prison.
No. You're thinking about Oz, and that's actually in Maryland.
Oz was actually good. Oz was great.
Well, Larry's saying this was good.
This is also good. So our protagonist there, the guy in the glasses with the 5 o'clock shadow, he's a police officer from Philadelphia who has gotten thrown off the force because he has some gambling problems.
Yeah,
and like people with gambling problems, he owes mobsters money, and that becomes a difficult thing to be when you're a police officer. And then one day, his bookie's girlfriend runs away to Florida. And he says, hey, and the guy says, hey, listen, go find my girlfriend, who's the chick there on the left. Now, of course, he didn't realize she was his girlfriend when he banged her previously. And there's a convoluted plot, but she channels a Florida woman experience. He channels a Florida man experience. He has a dad who's a corrupt city police chief who runs a bar, has access to a boat dock, and he's a pillar of the community. He lets all sorts of people borrow his boats, especially at night. And then they come back, and they're so thankful for letting him borrow boats. They just give him money.
Is one of these guys like a redheaded guy with a short sleeve button down shirt and kind of an evil thing in his eye?
No.
So
there's a MacGuffin that they're all going after. But the MacGuffin doesn't matter because it's all about, the main character working out his issues with his dad. And
so what you're saying is it's really about family.
And that's what makes it so powerful, yes. There were good performances, and there are all sorts of little news stories that took scenes that happened in the show and translated them into Florida Man news stories, which I thought was particularly neat. And at the end of the thing, the main character loses his ex-wife, again, I mean, can you really count it like when the ex-wife is trying to come back on like a rebound? Does that really count as losing the ex-wife, or just not catching her?
It counts as dodging a bullet, I think.
Yeah.
Misplacing the ex-wife?
He loses the side piece, but the side piece does help him out.
Dodging another bullet. I'm seeing
but
no L's so far.
And his dad ends up in jail.
Again, winning. He's doing great.
Yep. And that's Florida Man on Netflix. I highly recommend it.
So, as a Floridian,
Mhm.
did this show make you feel represented in media?
No, because it's from the Atlantic coast of Florida, and they're scum.
Oh, yeah,
I
you're
apparently
over on the
saw
Gulf, aren't you?
Yes.
I saw something that my wife started watching this week. I think it's called Your Honor. It stars Bryan Cranston.
Yeah.
So he's apparently a judge
Mhm.
who, in true Bryan Cranston fashion, now in his acting career, breaks bad when he finds out his kid has murdered the son of a evil crime boss.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't see very much of it, maybe an episode and a half, but I had a feeling it's going to be pretty good.
Well, maybe I'll go watch that, and we'll have a nice review of that. I also saw an anime movie at the theater, and when AMC has an anime movie, especially one that's not from that's the second one. Suzume. And this is when they do offer us up an anime movie. I'll even pay out cash. I prefer going to see the anime movie when it's part of my AMC Movie Pass, but that's rare because they know that the weebs will pay.
As long as you don't show up in a suit.
I mean, the weebs pay even if they're in the suit. So Suzume is a show about the titular girl, Suzume. She's growing up with her mom. Well, it's not her mom; it's her aunt. It's her adopted mom because her mom
I don't
died.
think that's a very good descriptive of that character.
What do you mean?
Titular.
She is the titular character because that is her name. Her name's in the title. There are there's other words that start with tit.
I'm just busting your balls. Go ahead.
I know. So she's living in southern Japan, living with her aunt because her mom got murdered by a tsunami. And she has some effed up dreams. And then she meets a boy. And the boy's like saying, "Hey, I want to go find her ruins because I'm looking for a weird door." And because she's a teenage girl and she saw a boy that she thought was hot, instead of going to school, she goes to find him to find a weird door. And she opens up the weird door and things flow out of it, so to speak. And there's various supernatural shenanigans. And she and the boy have to solve the supernatural shenanigans. They have to, sacrifice things for the greater good. But then they have to realize that there are things even bigger than the greater good. And, again, this is also about family because it's all about her and her aunt coming to terms with the fact that, it was kind of screwed up that you were forced to adopt a kid that basically made no man want to touch you, even though you had money. And the guy gets turned into a chair for a little while. It's a magic thing. Gets turned into a chair. It's very good. It's very entertaining.
It's not a euphemism so she can sit on his face?
It's not because of that. It's not because of that, but that is a thing that happens.
At least they admit it.
But they don't explore that. And she also, in her bare feet, steps on him.
Oh, God.
So again, they don't explore that connotation, but it's there. If you have a depraved mind for being on the internet long enough, you have that thought.
At least they don't deny it exists.
She also goes to work at a adult karaoke bar, part of her mission to save Japan, which was fun because you get to see a bunch of drunk, happy Japanese people. It's a good movie. And she grows, she learns, and she has a resolution to her childhood trauma.
Alright.
Now, I got a video game review for y'all.
Oh boy.
I got a video game on Steam.
Okay.
What video game on Steam did you get, Larry?
I am your president.
No, you're not, Larry.
Oh.
I didn't vote for you.
Well, no, in that video game you did.
No, I didn't.
So anyway, it's. I really didn't have anything to work with on that, so I had to go sell that joke.
Look, Grandpa's been in the show liquor.
Actually, this is me on pure oxygen.
He's been playing with his children, so he has extra oxygen.
Ah.
So that's the next link down there, Ayrton. Well, no, I mean, your children fill you with life, and you get high on life from being around your children.
I get high on God.
So in I Am Your President, you're in a choose-your-own-adventure style game where you're the president. The game wants the president to be very Trumpian because there is a tool in the game called Screecher, which has a bird. And you make choices, and you advance the goals of America. And you can make America great again. I didn't get too deep into the game with the war thing because I didn't figure out how to build up the military quickly enough. But yeah, you're a president, you got a wife, you got marriage problems with your wife. If you make the wrong choice, you send your kid to Haiti and she gets murdered.
Oh, good. I like that. Do you get to play a mini game of Resident Evil 4 to save her?
No, you don't.
Shit. They should tie that
also-
in. They should find a
also-
way to link that in.
Also, you have another daughter who stars in a movie that causes a national riot.
Okay.
And your wife does have a Russian grandmother who appears and may or may not be a KGB agent. So I recommend I Am Your President. If you like games that are strategy based and loosely related to politics, it'll be a good time. And now
because the game wants you to be Trump, it's not only strategy based, it's strategy based.
Speaking of
Okay.
Trump, that's my lead in.
Larry, can we skip this
Go
one
ahead.
until next
Go
week?
ahead. Go
Well,
ahead,
no.
kick,
No,
go ahead
no.
and kick me out, Ayrton. I deserve it.
No,
after that.
No. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail. I'm going to save the detail for when Ayrton and Rune and Church have an opportunity to watch this masterpiece.
Okay. Which, by
But
the
I'm
way,
gonna-
I found this for you guys, so you're welcome.
Which
Yes.
masterpiece?
Trump versus
this one.
Illuminati.
Ooh.
And apparently this guy has a whole bunch of different movies he's done.
Oh.
So first I want to let you all know that this movie was made using free Unity assets.
Okay.
All of them were free Unity assets.
Of course. Well, I mean, why spend money when you have
Click on that one with the aliens on Mars there. So this is Trump encountering the aliens
right. Well,
but
you
it's
gotta
not.
you got to be in a spacesuit,
because he's on Mars.
right?
So this story is told from the perspective mostly of the clone of Donald Trump, who was cloned by the Chinese just before the real Donald Trump caused the nuclear holocaust of all human life.
Right. Yes. Yes. It's historically accurate so far,
And the Chinese also made their clone of Trump immortal.
as you should.
As is
And
tradition.
Trump and a Bigfoot. And by Bigfoot, I mean a gorilla with wolf teeth. There's also Bigfoot versus Illuminati. It's one.
Why
of
are
those
you
guys
Why are you
movies.
dropping the T on Big Feet, Larry? We didn't agree to that.
I mean, he's a character in the movie.
No, but that's real life shit you're talking. Like, you can't be telling people about Bigfoot, Larry. We gotta scrub this show.
And
Look, Bigfoot's an endangered species. You can't be risking endangered species like that.
And Van Helsing's in this, and Van Helsing and Bigfoot are also there assisting Trump in fighting the reptilian aliens and their
As they
master,
should be.
Satan.
Yes.
And all of the characters speak in monologue or exposition.
Hell yeah.
Occasionally there's dialogue, but the dialogue is only making really cringy sexual comments.
As it should be.
We can do a more full review of this once you guys have seen it, but this is one of those rare gems. This is one of those things that is so bad it had to have been made bad on purpose, because I don't want to believe somebody made all of these choices thinking that they were correct.
You're welcome.
Why are you besmirching the name of this fucking Oscar-worthy film, Larry?
No, actually, I would go and watch this guy's other films, like Bigfoot versus Illuminati.
Well, obviously Bigfoot failed. That's why they had to call in the Don.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what happened to that movie.
Wait, we have Krampus versus Bigfoot, Tickles the Clown,
again,
Hodge and the Lost Easter Egg, Bigfoot
If you
versus
just watch the
Megalodon.
man's last movie, you can infer the outcomes of all these other movies. The Bigfoot
But,
was around, the Krampus wasn't, so Bigfoot obviously beat the Krampus.
But the Bigfoot versus
guy's-
Illuminati is advanced AI robots have drained Earth of its natural resources, and a rebel-human alliance in space with no planet to call home calls on Bigfoot to do battle with humanity's greatest enemies, the Illuminati.
This guy pumped out 5 movies in 2021.
All of them probably using free Unity assets, I would imagine.
The Zooverse?
Look, clearly the answer is this man is trying to start the Trump versus cinematic universe.
Oh.
Yeah, this is clearly something special you found, Ayrton. He also did a movie called Frankenstein Ruins Halloween.
He does do that.
Wait. So I clicked on the Zooverse. Notorious villains Grim Slice and Space Slime are wreaking havoc in space once again and ambushing innocent travelers.
So this is
Yes.
a sequel.
I mean, it's a multiverse. Clearly, it's a multiversal narrative.
Oh, come on, load.
We have found something special here.
Church,
I think
Church.
this guy might be the Chris Chan of the film industry.
Church, I didn't know you were in movies.
He
you,
also
Eric.
he also made Bigfoot versus Megalodon.
Oh, God, I've heard of that one.
Dude, I love this guy. I want to give this guy complimentary reach-around for all of these.
He also made another movie called Avenger Dogs Christmas.
We got to find out if this guy does conventions.
And again, all of this
Go interview
all of
him or
this
some
looks like free Unity assets.
On BC14. I'm going to go look him up on Twitter right now.
On his IMDb, he has a writing credit on 121 projects. He directed 22. He edited 14 and acted in 8.
Dude, wait.
Guy's
I
a
think I found
machine.
him on Twitter. Hold on.
Let's all follow him simultaneously. Oh, fuck, another internet community found me.
I found him as an editor.
In 2014, he made a movie called Werewolf Rising.
So this guy. Dude,
Yeah, send the at. Send the at. We're all going to
dude,
follow
he
him.
only has 11 followers.
Send the at. We'll fuck
It's
him
at
up.
BC14.
Seriously?
Yeah, here, I'll send it in the group chat.
I got it.
Ben Sharon? No.
Oh, snap. His next movie that's coming out is Exterminator and the AI Apocalypse.
Where'd you send it? in the group chat.
Hold on, I'm set in the ship posting one.
The series to
Yeah.
put aside the sheer wall-to-wall redundancy of this, the real question is whether or they are doing this on purpose. It's purposefully bad to be bad for the sake of trying to be schlocky, or do they actually believe in their product and just have an abject lack of skill? In which case they're
Exterminator and the AI apocalypse is coming out soon.
In which case they are making gold with like dirt.
I mean, he has one here on his Twitter called "Bigfoot Goes to Hell" with the tagline "Hell hath no fury."
The circle of death.
Well, because my concern would be that you're setting us up to watch Donald Farmer films.
Oh,
we
no,
might
we're
be.
getting
This
this
might
guy.
be the long con.
We're getting this guy on the channel. We're so getting this guy on the channel. This is my next project.
Do you guys not know Donald Farmer?
No.
Yes.
Okay, I'm glad, Larry, that you and I are aficionados of shit film. The answer is he's a guy whose interests are so weird he made the Red Letter Media guys uncomfortable.
Oh, that guy. Okay.
Yeah, no, he's not that. He's not that bad.
Ayrton?
Because Ayrton is always talking ASMR on this.
Look at that picture. Look at that picture of Bigfoot versus Lunai. Go back there. Just look at that. Look at that.
That's fucking art.
So
I love that Bigfoot's expression says, "Why am I here? How did my career take this turn?"
And Rune, I'm talking low because I'm living on a campsite right now.
That was me asking you that question, fuckface.
Oh,
I stand by because Ayrton's always doing ASMR on the Gospel of Comics.
So I do want to then segue into something that's bad by people who allegedly have money, but I don't believe them.
oh no, I'm still looking through this guy's Twitter. Hold on.
Okay. Oh yeah,
that might actually be good. I might actually go with Manson versus Dracula.
I mean, look at Tickles the Clown though.
If Dracula's the good guy,
hold on. Manson versus Dracula. Isn't that just Renfield?
No, Renfield isn't very good.
No, it's got Nick Cage in it being at full cage. I feel like it's going to be a masterpiece.
No, it's got Nick Cage being a bad Dracula, and everyone who wants to see Renfield should go watch Voyage of the Demeter instead.
Oh, man. Okay, I'll stop sharing that.
So,
put your pants back on.
Damn it.
So, DC Comics decided to cross over with Rooster Teeth, and it's bad.
I just want to comment this real quick because I got to go grab my food. It's about to arrive. So this is not the first time they did this. They did this in book form first. Okay. In the book form, their Batman looks dumb because they made Batman a half furry. They're called Faunus. They're part of Ruby. And they gave him bat ears. Right?
So he looks dumb in this one, but he looks less dumb.
Right, he looks less dumb in this, but apparently they somehow fucked up his characterization for animation, but did his characterization correct in book. It's hilarious to me.
I mean, this was written by the Ruby writers, I think.
Who clearly don't read Batman, so that makes sense.
Either that, or it was the person who was on a Bat book and got fired before their 8 issues came together. So it's that Twitter link there.
All right. Am I playing?
It says we need to talk about this atrocity. Yes.
Okay. All right. And here we go.
Batman. Bruce.
This is Diana. She's.
I didn't think anyone else was here.
The fuck is this on my goddamn screen right now? I'm about to fire every one of you.
Why?
This is what DC Comics has done.
Wait. Why does he have bat wings?
Because they gave him bat wings because Ruby's terrible.
Guys, I signed a contract like 10 years ago that requires me to go commit harikiri after seeing that bullshit.
Wait, you haven't even heard the full retardation yet.
Okay.
You need to know how angry.
You probably picked up on that. You look different.
This place is so strange. I just want to go home.
You could still come with us to Remnant.
Hee
Okay.
I'm
Hold on. I have a
sorry.
question. So
Hmm?
the whole Batman being with Wonder Woman thing,
Mhm.
wouldn't her vagina like rip his dick off because she's a demigod?
No, the bad
No.
dick.
No, because number one, he's got something on his utility belt for that.
Amazon badge repellent.
Well, no, like
That
the
was gonna be
extra,
loosening spray.
like the extra durable condom that's made of the same material as the Batman outfit.
But he can still feel through because of the hypersensitive nanotechnology.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make sure I was following correctly.
Okay.
So continue to play.
Diana, this is Weiss.
Hi, Weiss. It's nice to meet you. I've heard great things about you. Bruce.
This flower is actually part of it.
It's part of how the shitty animation expresses emotions.
How am I going to kill myself 3 times, Larry? That's what I'm trying to figure out right
I
now.
have powers on their world, Diana. I never wanted powers. I didn't think I needed them. But on Remnant, I can help. More than I could before.
They gave Batman powers.
Help.
Yes.
How on earth?
Well, because
Well, that's
everybody
the
in
fuck
Your
up.
own kind of powers.
everybody in that
Maybe
setting
we
has
can-
powers, and they gave him wings.
Oh, that's the fuck
Mm.
up.
They also de-aged him. So this is 18-year-old
Obviously.
Bruce Wayne.
Let's compound this with that there is direct videographic evidence that this is not Batman's thought process.
Okay.
DC recently did a version of the what the hell is that event, the Sanction event, where the Justice League discovered that Batman had plans to kill all the Justice League members if it
Oh,
needed
the
to
brother
happen.
eye thing?
Yeah. They did a variant of it with Vandal Savage stealing Batman's plans and using them altered against them. And one of the conversations came up about the idea of powers, and in that wonderful Kevin Conroy voice, which is really the Batman of a generation, Batman expounded that powers made superheroes dependent and actually weakened them because they didn't have to think tactically or intelligently about what they did. Batman never wanted powers. Was never even a thought in his mind.
No, I'm aware.
Let's get through the last few seconds of this.
These abilities, I can do more. I can be like you. A
Right,
warrior.
because Batman's a Wonder Woman simp, clearly.
Okay, so I know about Ruby. I know it's a thing. It's basically
It's a
just,
terrible thing.
It's basically just Tumblr the anime, isn't it?
No.
No, it's not an anime, and it's made with the same amount of budget as the person who made Trump versus Illuminati,
But not as good.
but not as good.
Ruby is a complicated example of what could have been, because its creator clearly had an idea and was a developing talent and would be something today. But he died real suddenly, and his property fell into the hands of hacks like Rooster Teeth.
Mm.
Who don't know what they're doing and don't know what they've got, but
Okay.
it's making money.
I kind of hate you for that, Larry. I'm not gonna lie. I'm
Yeah.
not sure I'll
Well,
ever
if-
forgive you.
I mean, I was showing you something to be angry about, and also Rooster Teeth is, I believe, they're owned by Warner now.
They got bought out by Warner some time ago.
I mean,
Either that or they got traded to Sony, from Sony to Warner. It's complicated.
No, they got directly picked up by Warner.
okay. Did you guys ever like Rooster Teeth?
No.
Okay.
For a very, very narrow window of life, I enjoyed a series I didn't think I was gonna like called Camp. But then they tossed that under the bus, so fuck them.
Okay. I remember seeing like a couple of things that were mildly amusing, but other than that, I was like,
That's the thing. Rooster Teeth has inconsistent quality across time and over situations. So a property
It goes from almost good to terrible.
Yeah, so something halfway decent will drop out of the sky, and then it will be followed up by wall to wall mediocrity.
that makes
The best
sense.
thing that's come out of Ruby is they started a homophobia meme related to Ruby, and then the character who was
That's
the center
right.
of
I
the meme
saw
killed.
that. Hold on, I'm gonna have to pull that up.
Is homophobia time a new permutation of racism time?
Yes.
Okay.
No, I'm merely mentioning that because that was a major meme that was going on, and people were arguing as to whether they killed the character off because everybody associated her with hating on the gay ship that they did,
No.
because the fans were like saying, "No, these characters are totally gay, guys.
No, that's
You always
perfect,
intended them to be gay."
no, that's a perfect example. All right. On paper, until they can prove to Warner Brothers that they deserve more money, this is supposed to be the last season of Ruby. They will probably get the money they need, right?
Mhm.
But they needed to create drama because they had written themselves into a corner because everybody went into fairyland, right? So they spent many episodes creating an artificial drama that was not supported by any material, right? And then they appeared to kill off a character in the second to last episode because, spoilers for dumb fucks watching Ruby who watched this series, they brought her back immediately. Literally resolved with the power of believe in yourself, because that's all they've got. That's the height of Ruby storytelling. Is you can overcome death if you believe in yourself.
You should. That
Oh,
should be
this-
the
This is a good one.
the message.
Okay. So should we do the Tolkien thing? Because me and Rune are going to fight if we do.
I mean, we should totally do the Tolkien thing because Rune and I are actually going to agree.
Well,
I'll take Ayrton's side to even up the tag team match.
The title of this article from Giant Freaking Robot: Tolkien was a terrible writer. So how did his books become so famous?
I've read this.
Tolkien was a terrible writer, but his talent and dedication to world building made up for it. So let's start off with that opening sentence. Rune and I don't like what Tolkien did as a writer. We don't like his style. But I would never argue. I would never argue that Tolkien was a terrible writer. I would just say that his style is very much not for me.
Take the big man to accept that,
I
he's wrong.
I would never argue that the primary thrust that made Tolkien good was world building. World building is a catch-all term that modernity is using. That doesn't mean shit. There is more linguistic quality to Tolkien's work than the world building.
But would you argue that Tolkien is a good writer?
So
man.
I would, yes, so since I got down here, I've been doing a lot of reading because it's so nice out. I can sit out in the sun and relax and read. And I just finished The Hobbit like 2 days ago. One of my all-time favorite books. And reading The Hobbit, the thing I like about it is he wrote it it's when you're reading it, it's like there's some old guy sitting there just telling you some fanciful story off the top of his head, like the way he has little interjections in there.
Yeah.
That's how it's written. I get that you guys might not like that style of writing, but I enjoy it, and I still think The Hobbit is a wonderfully fun.
Well, no. The
story.
Hobbit is a better book because The Hobbit is more contained to what it's supposed to be for.
It took me a hot minute to structure my thoughts, but I think I have it. I would never say, outside of a casual snarkiness, that Tolkien was a terrible writer. He's clearly not, right?
He is a master of his craft.
But my issue was never that he was a good or bad writer. My issue was always that he was put onto a pedestal as a sacred cow I did not believe was deserved. He is not the inventor of fantasy. He is not the father of modern fantasy. He is one among a continuum, a pantheon of creators who deserve equal respect, possibly more respect. And that has always been my primary boggle. Right?
So, 50 years after J.R.R. Tolkien died, his books are still some of the most well-known and well-loved works of fiction ever created. This is true. Even if you hate fantasy, you're still at least heard of The Lord of the Rings. Probably seen a meme or two online of the Peter Jackson movies, and you're likely to scroll past The Rings of Power while browsing Amazon Prime, because most people didn't completely watch that show. But if you're being honest, Tolkien really wasn't that great a writer. Press X to doubt. So how did his books become so famous that almost every person on the planet is at least somewhat familiar with them? The Lord of the Rings is the second most popular fantasy series of all time in terms of book sales, behind J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter. That statement makes me want to kill myself. And while faults can be found in both authors' writing, yes, many critics find Tolkien's books to be long-winded, with unbearably long descriptions. I agree with those critics. Filled with unimportant side quests that take away from the main storyline. I'm a little bit more mixed on that. And to be more about the world he's building than the characters the reader is following. Well, yes, because he's basing it off of older stories that were based on the world and not on the characters. All of this makes for his books be extremely hard to read and stay focused on, which is why many consider him to be a terrible writer.
Can we further point out, just because I think it's relevant here, that none of this is a substantiated claim. This is all claims of other people who made claims.
You know, my cousin over there said.
Yeah.
Well, actually, can we also...
Can you actually get a quote from your cousin, Larry?
Even, someone like... even someone like myself, who's a fan of Tolkien, I agree that he's very long-winded, and like The Lord of the Rings can be hard to read in some parts. Anything outside of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings is nigh impossible to read, unless you're like super into lore and world building stuff.
And true to form,
but I still enjoy it.
Well, I'm going to take Ayrton's side here, and I'm going to argue on the side of Tolkien.
Hold on, let me take my pants back off.
There you go. All right, so Tolkien, while I don't think that he did anything that anyone else couldn't have done, I think he deserves.
His linguistic stuff is something that almost nobody else could have done.
Well, I think it's more of a sense of why would you attempt it, because it's already been done so well.
Oh, there are people who've done conlang in their books and build their books around conlang, but none of them were as knowledgeable of linguistics.
Let's bring it back to comic books real quick, because there's one thing that sticks out in my mind, and I've always seen it as kind of an homage to Lord of the Rings. And I bet none of you can actually tell me what I'm thinking about right now, but it's something we've all read and reviewed here on the show. Watchmen. And I say Watchmen not because of the way the story was driven or anything of that nature, but because of the narrative tone of the story, as well as the little story within a story that took place on the Black Freighter.
Here's the thing.
I would disagree with you about the tone.
No.
Entirely.
Let's credit the argument for a minute. If we accept this position, Church, then I put to you, you have to accept that Watchmen is overstated for the exact same reasons.
Oh no, I don't disagree with that at all. We've had this discussion, and I've never disagreed with
Alan. I hate Alan Moore.
We know.
You realize we're back in full form on this episode because we've already mentioned Alan Moore in Secret War.
The boys are back, ladies and gentlemen. Oh man, but no, I don't think that he deserves to be put on as high of a pedestal as he is, though I do believe he deserves a pedestal nonetheless.
Oh, he gets one. I am not inferring he doesn't get one.
Like I say, it's not a neutral middle ground argument either. I agree with the sentiment that he's not the greatest writer that ever graced the green earth of God, but nor is he someone that should be tossed in the history bin and forgotten about.
No,
I feel like his writing did go on to influence years, decades even, of fantasy storytelling and tropes.
I'm gonna tear away the cloak here for a minute. Larry, you know what this article is actually doing. Yeah. In my opinion, this article is actually setting up an argument. It's not going to get to that argument. It's just going to set it up to get into the back of your mind that the Rings of Power is better because it takes the base that Tolkien started with and then does more meaningful current year politically
that's why the new Watchmen series wasn't good either.
Right. Exactly.
Well, then that wasn't the only reason the new Watchmen series wasn't good.
No, it was because if it didn't have that stuff in it, Lube Man would have carried the show on its own.
That's true.
Well, he might have dropped it a couple of times.
Also,
well, there are several problems with the Watchmen TV series that I'd like to remind you of, like the fact that Dr. Manhattan had a line of dildos.
No,
Vitek had a line of dildos using Dr. Manhattan's likeness.
Well, his penile likeness.
Yeah, he got him to sign it over in the 70s because he saw the marketability in it. What are you talking about?
And I'll also admit I'm an outlier when it comes to this because I also really love the Aragon books, which most people say are terrible, but they hold a special nostalgic place for me because the first one came out when I was 14.
Here's the thing. It might not be that there's anything wrong with the Aragon books themselves, right? But they got their hands on a kid author and started pushing him forward like, oh, look, we have the hot new kid author who's going to be the next insert person here. They sold that kid dirty.
Yes.
And then didn't stop him from opening his own mouth and letting stupid fall out because he was all of 15.
Yep.
I thought he was 16 when those came out. Or when the first one came out.
He might have started when he was writing was 15 and then got them published at 16. But the point still stands that Aragon is a perfect example of being defeated by success.
But
he has a new book. He has a new book coming out that I'm probably going to get and I'm probably going to read and most likely enjoy it. But
so I want to get to the thesis.
One more thing. I still say, out of Tolkien's work, The Hobbit is his best one.
It is.
Absolutely.
There's no question.
And unambiguously.
Yeah. No.
But Tolkien made up for his side quests, his disorganized plot points with a world so well developed that readers could almost be convinced that Middle Earth was actually part of our ancient history, because that was the point. The point. He was writing the lost mythology of the Anglo-Saxons. That was the goddamn point of the book, you ignorant mong. Tolkien spent hundreds of hours building out the world of Middle-earth before ever putting pen to paper to write The Hobbit or The Fellowship of the Rings. He drew the maps, the land, created the lore of the people, and developed the languages spoken by the creatures.
Well, and let's not forget about his contributions to Nazi propaganda while we're at it.
No?
I'm kidding.
Wait, I thought he wrote The Hobbit based off of stories he thought up for his kids when they were little.
No. I said that the world of Middle-earth was designed to be the replacement mythology for the lost Anglo-Saxon mythology.
No, I'm critiquing what they're claiming, that he spent hundreds of hours building Middle-earth before ever writing The Hobbit or The Fellowship of the Rings. I thought he came up with the idea for hobbits and that book prior to everything else.
Yes, but he built the world to plug it into.
It's column A, column B. As a writer person, the best description of writing ever given is actually from a Robin Williams film called The Night Listener. Writers are birds. We steal shiny bits and leave the rest. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You do not make something of the size and scope of Lord of the Rings without many hours of development. And we know that there were many hours of development because Tolkien used to take his manuscripts to the Inklings and tell them stories, and they would read and go, "Oh God, more elves! Shut the fuck up, Tolkien." Once they'd had a couple. The thing is that you can also have told stories to your children, made hobbits. They really liked hobbits, so you added hobbits to your world, and then you made The Hobbit, which is a fairy tale for children.
And hobbits, he was doing market research. With the easiest way to market research is with children.
The thing is that Tolkien himself, in public statement, did say that Lord of the Rings specifically was supposed to be a new modern epic, a new modern mythology, to replace lost ancient mythology. Which, in the way of the Anglo-Saxons, is absolutely a constructed lie. Because the thing about Tolkien is that he doesn't want to admit that there are pagan roots to his God-fearing Christian society.
Well, no, at the time...
Because there aren't. We killed them when we were Crusaders.
At the time, they hadn't recovered...
Pulled those roots right out of the ground.
They hadn't recovered enough text from the Anglo-Saxons to kind of get a good inkling of what they did.
And I mean, also to be fair, Rune, they just discovered like a month ago that the Vikings in Iceland most likely developed gunpowder and had rudimentary firearms in like the 1200s.
But it's not about that.
So.
C.S. Lewis and Tolkien famously had a disagreement over at the Inklings. C.S. Lewis, in developing Lion, Witch, and the Wardrobe, said that you could start with paganism. You could start with pure fantasy and ease people into Christendom. Right? You could basically espouse Christian ideology in your fantasy fiction and soft sell people without insulting them. Right? And it's worth pointing out
that's how we got the Jesus allegory line.
And it's worth pointing out that C.S. Lewis, actual priest. Right? I mean, C of E, but still priest.
Well, he was a theologian, not a priest.
No, I believe he was actually a priest. I'll have to look that up.
Was he?
Yeah.
Look it up.
But then on the other end of the spectrum was Tolkien, who was like, no, you start with God, you end with God. The only answer is God, because the very best story is of God's victory over evil. So you start from a position of everything is great. You introduce the wrongness, then you defeat the wrongness, and everyone is reaffirmed that everything is great and comes away feeling not only happy, but appropriately religious.
Well, I don't want to get into a big theological debate when we're sitting here talking about the Lord of the Rings, because I feel like we've gotten about 10 miles away from the overall theme of the story.
The overall is this article is shit.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of the point of most of the things we read on this show.
Mm-hmm.
But to get that theological about Lord of the Rings, I think misses the entire point, because even though, you know, George R. R. Martin,
Jr.
J.R.R. Tolkien is a a Christian man, and wrote a lot of his beliefs into his work, I think that a lot of it kind of doesn't come through in the Hobbit. In the Lord of the Rings, you get a little bit more of it.
No, the Hobbit
But
is again is both very tight and very clearly described, and is a joy to read. The Hobbit's great.
So what about this point Novel Bro made over in the chat? Hobbit undisputed, the rest is just his son's gaslighting him into making the world around it.
Well, that's true of the Silmarillion. I don't know if that's true of Lord of the Rings. Because the problem is Christopher Tolkien, after his father was too old to defend himself and then was dead, has made a career out of playing Will I or Won't I and publishing his father's unfinished papers as posthumous collaboration, which is one of the most awful things in literary circles, right? If I made a Spider-Man comic or a Thor comic or a New Gods comic, and I slapped the words "in posthumous collaboration with Jack Kirby," that doesn't mean I wrote a story with Jack Kirby, even if I have Kirby-style art. That means I basically riffed on Kirby's corpse.
Okay, but what about the? Let's take the marketing of it aside. If say you're someone who absolutely goes crazy for Tolkien, and he is an important historical figure, don't you think it's good to preserve like his letters and his notes and other random writings for historical fact?
No, it is absolutely correct to preserve those things. Okay? I didn't say at all you shouldn't preserve Tolkien's legacy as is. All right? I'm saying the problem is that Tolkien died in the middle of writing the Silmarillion, which was half finished, and Christopher Tolkien finished the rest of it for him. Didn't publish it as is and call it the unfinished tales or the unremembered tales, right? Didn't say, my father has passed, but here I'm going to share his last work with you because I feel that it's of value to everyone. No. He claimed that he and his father wrote it together, finished it up, and then presented it, which is why, for instance, it's basically the Holy Bible in fantasy format and replicates the life and passing of Christ inexplicably in ways that make no sense.
Look, man, stop throwing it under the bus so far. That means all of Ayrton's co-collaboration with Willie Nelson's grave are completely legit now.
Willie Nelson's not dead.
Yeah.
Also, we don't talk about Ayrton's necrophilia. That's just his problem.
No, like, I'm sure if Ayrton gets enough weed and shows up at Willie Nelson's house, he can collaborate with Willie Nelson.
You know what? That is true. If you show up with enough sticky shit, Willie Nelson will be like, "Sure, man, come on in. We'll turn the recording on."
I gotta stop giving away hints that I'm from the future.
By the way, I don't know if you guys ever saw this. Snoop Dogg actually, in an interview, talked about how he was on a tour bus with Willie Nelson, and they both started smoking weed. And Willie smoked him under the table.
Oh yeah,
I am not surprised.
That's a famous story. Everybody knows that one.
And like Snoop was like going, "God damn, how'd that happen?"
Because Snoop, if you're watching this, if you're out there, Willie Nelson is what we call the OG.
I mean, he was the first person that we know of who smoked marijuana on the White House.
You mean before Elvis?
No, Elvis didn't smoke marijuana in or on the White House.
Yeah,
because when Elvis went to the White House, when Elvis went to the White House, he joined to become part of the DEA. to stop all those hippies doing drugs.
I don't know where I had heard that Elvis and Nixon did some drugs while they were at the White House, but I want to live in that world.
They absolutely did some drugs. It just wasn't marijuana. The drug of the hour was cocaine, my friend. But anyway, what else do we have, gentlemen?
Well, I mean, you said you had some content, Mr. Church. Other than that, you want to talk about
I
new
do.
show by Sam Hyde?
Well, we should. That was one of the things I wanted to talk about. But I was going to say, don't download games from your past, ladies and gentlemen. It is a trap.
It's a trap set for you by the person from the past.
Yeah, it is.
How
by
so?
By yourself.
How so? For I have acquired many old games.
So here's the problem, Rune. I grew up like most normal Americans playing Diablo and Diablo 2.
Okay.
And looking around on the Switch shop, and lo and behold, there's Diablo 2 and 3 bundled together for $29.
Yeah.
With all the DLC.
Which should have been part of the game from the get-go, yeah.
And I go, ooh, I like both of those games, but I haven't played Diablo 2 in a minute. I start playing. About 14 hours, I look up and realize that's what I've been doing. I was playing Diablo 2. It was bad, guys. I had to go to work after this. I had no sleep. I had been farming dungeons all night. My paladin was like level 32 in the first session of play. It was bad. It's a trap. Don't do it. Don't fall for it. Because
so what you're saying is that the Lord of Terror succeeded.
He did. Now I'm going through the hell difficulty levels to get to Nightmare so that I can start truly farming for that top tier gear. I don't know why I would be doing this because I had already beaten the game 3 times at that point on all the difficulty settings with one character, but there are like 8 characters you could beat the game with, so I should have to do that. So 8 times 3 probably take me about a week per character, and then you got to start grinding for their gear.
Well, I mean, Church, I'm sure there's a Chinaman you could hire to do that.
But where's the fun in that? Like, I haven't found the fun in what my plan is yet either. By the way,
you expect to have fun with a Blizzard game?
Wait, hold on. You can hire Ian Miles Chong to play video games for you?
No. He's a Malaysian. I'm talking about a Chinaman.
Oh, yeah, you got to get Andy Worski to play the video games.
Someone who can give you emotional damage.
Can we get Justin Wang? What about Voice Critical?
No, I'm talking about like a guy in China who will do it for like $50 for a whole month.
Mr. Beast. I think he has a basement full of those. See if he'll rent us one for a week. I'm right.
Oof.
He can know you're right and not want you to be right. Those two things are not exclusive.
But yeah, so been playing some Diablo 2. Like I said, I got introduced to a new show that I was wondering when Jesse was going to come by the meth from the kindly old judge. And that kind of there was a pink birthday this weekend.
Oh, by the way, in relation to Chinaman, I just sent something over to the group chat for us to post for the streaming audience. It's an important question.
The Chinaman is not the issue here, dude.
No.
Asian American, please.
Well, no. This is about a Chinaman because it's a man from China. And this is related to anime and men from China.
Something you put in Twitter?
Yeah, in the Twitter group chat.
All right.
Jesus Christ. We can't put that up on YouTube.
We can. Because China doesn't want you to feature bodily fluids that are colored red. So this is what they did to the solution instead of having a character drink blood.
It reminds me
It's
of my
like-
ex-wife.
I find myself vaguely reminded of when Nintendo released the censored version of Mortal Kombat, and you would punch guys so hard that white fluid that they claimed was sweat would fall off of them.
Yeah.
It's like, let me get this straight, guys. You didn't want to be violent, so you just had to be pornographic instead.
I mean, that's certainly a decision.
Look, I'm just saying, Johnny
I
Cage
also-
punches guys in the balls and white fluid falls out.
Well, Larry, are you ready to discuss the Holler and Hogs week?
Let's talk about why Ethan Ralph decided to get a danger hairstyle.
Okay, so
Wait a minute.
Before
You're saying-
do we
you're
want to
saying
do
he,
that?
like- are you saying he like Pokemon evolved, or that he like leveled up to his true form?
I think somebody shoved a fusion stone up his ass, or an evolved stone up his ass.
There's a legend that certain YouTube personalities, in order to get more and more drama-related views, decide that it's time to go through a gender transition. I think that may be happening to Ethan.
Hold on, before we do that, I gotta play the other video I have for Rune.
Okay.
All right. Well, and you guys, I guess. All right.
Okay.
Das letzte Stück.
So, Goats is a middle-aged German man who dresses up as a latex doll named Tessa. Female masking is when heterosexual men dress up as latex dolls. This is one of Tessa's first times in public.
Mir sind quasi zwei Persönlichkeiten rangereift. Denn mein Vater und der später nachfolgende Stiefvater, die waren quasi noch verbandelt mit dem Krieg und was alles dazugehörte. Die Jungs weinen nicht, den kleinen Kratzer nach Hause gebracht, das was ja immer, das bisschen, was wild zu tun war. Und dann begriff ich erst, wie unterschiedlich das sein kann. Du musst als Mann dastehen, du musst dein Leben bestreiten, du musst, aber Frau, fühle ich mich wohl.
Wie fühlst du dich jetzt?
Langsam, nur noch die Haare.
I hate everything about this.
I'm just gonna pause on this image for a minute.
You know, Ayrton made some good points for coming up with something really good for content, and then he brought us this.
I think
I never said good.
I think I'm gonna have to fire Ayrton. Actually, you know what? Fuck that. Fuck you guys. I'm gonna fire myself.
Out of a cannon?
Yes.
Oh wait, it gets better.
Ich bin die Tessa.
Ist Götz noch da? Also ist Götz.
Götz ist weit weg.
Was macht denn die Maske mit dir?
That's some serial killer
Sie
shit.
hüllt mein
right
wahres Gesicht. Es ist da immer davon abhängig, wenn ich Tessa sein will, kann ich's. Ich kann auch jederzeit sagen, ich möchte es nicht mehr und ich kann sie wieder ausziehen. Tessa ist ganz weit weg jetzt von mir. Das war einfach zu viel. Ich habe mich quasi doch überschätzt, dass ich...
So instead of Vice saying like, "Hey, there's this guy with multiple personality disorder that puts on a latex mask,"
that's not the situation. Because you see, when you're in that whole fetish scene, you become your character, right? But I mean, this isn't that big a deal. Click on this Reddit link.
Oh God.
Okay.
Every show we fall farther from God, ladies and gentlemen. And I want everybody to notice who's encouraging this bullshit.
I mean, look at this here. It's a thing that happens in Japan all the time. And that is actually a common cosplay performance style in Japan. Did I just break Ayrton?
Dude, imagine you're some black dude who's into anime and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go to Japan, eat some sushi, buy some panties out of a vending machine, and you get on a train and see this.
I think I broke Ayrton there.
Yeah, you did.
Oh,
Yeah, you did.
oh, that is too good. What else is in this thread? Is there anything else?
So you're the one who went deeper on this Ethan Ralph situation, right, Church?
R.I.P.
Yeah,
all of them suck him dry.
I've been keeping up with it, just in the background a little bit. And Ethan has been spite seeing his son. I don't know if everybody's aware of that development.
So how do you see your child in spite?
Well, when you have like supervised visitation of 2 hours, I think twice a month. So you get a total of 8 hours a month with your firstborn child who you haven't seen,
and also haven't paid child support for.
Yes, he is having to pay child support. But he's been posting that his son remembers who he is, and gave him the nickname Bluey after his favorite TV show, making him a female animal in his child's eyes because of his blue hair and blue tinted sunglasses.
I mean, is it possible that the character of the show was fat?
I believe it is.
So if you're someone who likes games and you don't want to give Blizzard money, be aware that on GOG you can get Diablo 1. Which is so much better than this.
But back to the Ethan Ralph bit. He spite sees his child because he thinks it makes the mother of his child's parents angry that he goes and spends time with his son. And I raised the question today because every time he makes a visitation for his 2 hours, makes a big show of it, and then makes this big long coat post counting how many hugs he got. And ranting.
Church, aren't you blocked by Ethan Ralph?
Of course I am.
Shirt felt.
I see his account because one of my people sees his account. But he goes on these big long tirades and coat posting about not being able to see his kid. But I raised the question today. It's not against the rules for him to bring gifts for his child. But he never brags about bringing gifts for his kid. Like, you think if you're going to flex on how many hugs you got, you'd be up and raring and willing and just fucking ecstatic to tell the world how you spent $20 on some toys for your son, right?
Well, look, zany berries don't grow on trees, even in Mexico.
No. You wouldn't contemplate that there's a human being out there who's so low and down and degenerate that they would spend money on drugs before buying a gift for the child that they only get to see 8 hours a month.
I mean, I would contend Ethan Ralph may not be a human being.
So,
I mean, that would actually be funny to me, Larry, because that would mean that a man literally named Mr. Beast is more of a human being.
After his 2-hour visitations this weekend, he's been going head over ham to try and intimidate people on the internet. Rune is playing Diablo 1.
Yes, I am.
Fair enough.
It's the only quiet revolt I have.
Well, I mean, that's fine. We're still gonna go.
No, I know. I'm not stopping you.
So after his visitations, he rage post against the parents and the mother and grandparents of his son, for a day or two. And then Tuesday, I believe he's set to be in LA to visit with Nick Masterson. For some reason, I have a feeling that this visit with Dick Masterson is going to be weird. Or, now, Dick was at Road Rage Philly. What are the likelihood that his plane gets like held up and he can't get back to LA to be with Ralph, leaving Ralph stuck alone in LA?
Wait, you mean he didn't have another limb just spontaneously explode?
Well, what if he does? What if he does, guys? There's still time.
Well, my question is will this lead to another event where Ethan Ralph will get the shit beat out of him by some well-meaning citizen?
It could end up like that.
Well,
it could happen on the plane. It could happen on the airport.
Here's another question: what if a overly angry, obese person on the plane that Ethan Ralph just happens to be going on to causes the plane not to take off because he's drunk and disorderly?
Right.
That could also be a thing that happens.
Because while you can't spend money on gifts for your firstborn child, you can obviously spend enough money on expensive hotel or airport bar drinks for Instagram and Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta have priorities with your money, guys. Can't be wasting that shit on your children.
And
Speaking of which, I had a birthday this weekend, and it was very expensive.
I mean, look, it's not like it's his only child, or that child's gonna have memories of him for the next, 100 years or anything.
Rune, it is his only child. See, he has a daughter in Mexico, but he wants nothing to do with her. He literally
and the mother of his second child is also having another child.
That's a special kind of awful.
I thought that was a troll. Wasn't that a troll?
No, she's pregnant again.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But yeah, so
yeah, I might have taken a trip to Mexico before coming down here to the mountains.
He screamed into the microphone that his daughter should get used to it when someone mentioned that she hates being alone. While on air, he did this.
I mean, that's just solid parenting, Church.
Is it? It's not the way I did it.
It's not.
Larry.
It's not.
I did it differently, Larry. You saying I did bad?
No, I'm just saying that perhaps you're playing on a different level than Ralph, who is, as he often likes to tell us, the top of the sector.
I'm playing a whole different sport than that motherfucker.
I mean, I'm playing something different. I'm playing Diablo.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Which isn't destroying a child's developing mind or his future.
I mean, I'm not sure what the best story that's come out of Ethan Ralph is. He's having a Blue Danger haircut, his humble bragging about his child hugging him, or his
big tech, his former ball washer, has turned A-log.
Or how about the fact that he attacked his attorney on his own stream?
Look, can we just posit that evil finds its form allegedly, and that Ethan Ralph has changed his hair color, and these two things may or may not be related.
Well, he had to do that, Rune, because he fake donoed the money to himself to prove that he still gets donations.
And also the fact that Ethan Ralph is associated with Nick Fuentes, whose other capo, Ali Alexander, is allegedly guilty of sinning.
Ali Alexander is the one that he's trying to go have a sleepover with.
Yeah, Ali Akbar allegedly has sent penis pictures to minor children, and allegedly Nick Fuentes offered them jobs in politics if they kept quiet. And Ethan Ralph's associated with them.
Milo was in on it or something. I don't know.
Well, no. Nick Fuentes allegedly was offered these kids payoffs. And Ethan Ralph's a part of that. But now I think we should go to the fish tank. Because the fish tank is something that's wholesome in places.
Yes, please tell me about this.
Sam Ida has too much money.
Well,
I believe that's the short and narrow of it.
So
Thank you, Novel Bro. Ethan, this isn't even my final form, Ralph.
That is correct.
You know what? That would be an interesting fan edit of Dragon Ball Z. We replace Frieza with Ethan Ralph.
Yes, but we also somehow worked that into Super Grunt 64.
Well, no, you have to make.
Yes.
I hate to say this because he's a halfway decent character. You have to make Ethan Ralph Vegeta because Saiyans change their hair color as they power up.
No, but
Well,
Ethan
actually,
Ralph, Well, yeah, Ethan Ralph did have a blonde phase, Larry.
this is true,
that's
but
right.
but Frieza has also changed color.
Yeah, but he changes physical form. He's literally trans.
Oh, so does Ralph. He was thin when he got not thin, but he was average size when he got out of prison.
That is true.
Okay,
Because
so
prison
I'm
is
gonna need-
required to manage their
I
nutrition.
won't give him thin, but I'll give him under 200 pounds when he got out of prison.
so I'm
So-
gonna need somebody to do this with Ethan Ralph's face.
So Sam Hyde came up with his own version of Big Brother. But again, it's Big Brother that's made by Sam Hyde. So you got a bunch of people living in a house, and the chat can send super chats to change the environment that the people are dealing with. But this is Sam Hyde, so I don't know if any of those super chat things that are happening are real, or it's just Sam Hyde playing mind games with the audience.
Okay.
One of the contestants was very knowledgeable about how to be like Catherine the Great with horses. That was a conversation point that came up when she was explaining how you can scare horses if you're going after a horse that way. So here's how you do it without scaring the horse.
Okay, can I point out that I come from Washington State?
Was this Sylvia or was this one of the other contestants?
No, this is the crazy chick.
In Washington State,
Josie?
they declared
Yeah.
in Washington State they declared
I'm
that
Team
kind
Josie.
of things expressly illegal because a dude was
He had the
molested
horse
to death
rebel out.
by a horse. Yeah, so advocating to people, here's how you do it, but safe, is not a good idea.
Well, this could be a bit. Also, one of the
We want
contestants
people
had
to
a
be
boyfriend
safe around.
who allegedly swatted the house.
Yep. We believe it was iDubbbz.
Well, no, it was the boyfriend of one of the contestants.
No, it was
He
iDubbbz.
admitted to it. He admitted to it on Twitter.
Because iDubbbz paid him, I'm sure. You're not convinced me it wasn't iDubbbz. He's such a bitch.
I mean, look, iDubbbz lost a boxing match, fair and square.
No, he was a big bitch with Sam Hyde well before that. Because of their collaboration that he bitched out on because he couldn't handle full Hyde. You don't invite to collaborate with Sam Hyde unless you can handle full Hyde.
Especially considering Sam Hyde released his own version of the collaboration.
Well, let's think about this for a minute, okay? TED Talk should have taught everybody what it's like to sign a contract with Sam Hyde and what you should expect to get. It might not be what you get, but you should at least expect that as the best case scenario.
Is
And
this
then you should
anybody's
probably
water?
imagine 10
I'm claiming
contingencies is worse. What?
Is that anybody's water? I'm claiming that. Give me like 45 seconds.
So, yeah. And, they have things where Sam Hyde take all the things out of the refrigerator and put it in the freezer. And all the things in the freezer and put it in the refrigerator.
Didn't he come in and make them start doing boxing drills and shit?
He did. Also, somebody crowdfunded to remove all of the mattresses in the house.
Okay. Sounds good.
Nick Fuentes and his posse got the show taken off the air for a little bit by spamming their hashtags and stuff. So Sam had to actually get stuff set up so that you couldn't do that.
Okay, let's see. Novel Bro just posted a clip over in the Discord. Here, I'll play.
Yeah, bring it up. this has been compelling content for a lot of people on Twitter and the internet.
No, I appreciate what's happening, and apparently his plan is to do this annually.
Yep.
Isn't there also like a survivor element to it? Like people get eliminated and shit?
Yep. I mean, it's like Big Brother has that too.
I've never seen Big Brother. Don't watch a lot of reality TV.
I don't, because it's all fake and gay.
Yeah.
I oddly enough watch one of the most real reality shows you can find, and it's still fake and or gay.
Oh man, that fucking Goldstein suit. That's primo shit right there.
Also, you see that sign there that says "Stay inside, no weed."
Yeah.
Yeah.
They caught one of the contestants smoking weed.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's so good. I gotta play it again.
Oh, Ayrton, you want to show that bit of content that I showed you on Twitter today? And talk about that from your area of expertise as an archer.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
the
that
boob
one.
slap from hell.
Oh, wait a minute. Give me a second. You guys will love this. Yeah, stare at my desktop for a minute if you guys want.
We're not looking at it. Hold on. I have to scroll way down.
No.
Okay,
let me stop presenting because I actually have to pull up my my Discord.
We already have it off the screen.
I have a friend in Belgium now. He used to work in Germany, who is an archer. He regularly pulls in silver and gold. I sent him this clip, right?
The very clip I sent out?
Right, yes. I said, I'm less surprised by the failure than I am that no one told her better. He said, quote, you literally have to actively hold it incorrectly from your face and move your arm over to stick your chest plate, and then past your ear. Like, fuck.
Yeah. So here.
Yeah.
She did it wrong. She did it very wrong.
Right.
So on first watch of this, I was like, yeah, she fucked up. And I made a comment on second watch of this because it popped back up in my Twitter feed. I was like, oh, she did everything wrong. So one,
she didn't wait too close to her chest.
Well, no, it's not even that. Let's see where. So see how the way she's twisted and leaning back. You don't do that. You stand straight with your legs or with your feet knee width apart, and you lean forward.
I mean, look at her forearm.
So that's actually right. Her arm holding the bow is actually fairly right. Her wrist is wrong. Her wrist is turned in too far, but you want to bend your elbow slightly. That's correct. But this right here, you don't do that. And you don't have your face. I don't know what she's doing with her head. I don't know how she's trying to aim. That's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And then where's her? Okay, and so her let off. So when you let off, you don't just let go of the string, right? You have to follow through. So the motion is more of a pull back, and you kind of open your hand and pull your hand past your face. It's hard to describe without actually showing you guys, but there's tape over my camera at the moment.
No, leave it there. The government will be able to see you otherwise.
There's right. But there's just so much wrong here. And yeah, so this part, that's mostly right. It's a little too bent, but her wrist is way too hyperextended. So I'm assuming this chick watched way too much Hunger Games and wanted to go cosplay as Katniss and thought it would be fun. And that's why she's shooting like this. Because
now,
here, let me
what I like in the comments is this is apparently a common mistake that women make once.
Yes. So that's weird. I've never taught a chick how to shoot a bow, but I have taken chicks to a gun range for the first time. They do the same thing. They lean back. It's the weirdest thing. I don't understand why they do it.
So, one last thing that I think we should touch on that was kind of funny this week is the massive meltdown over the loss of the blue check mark.
Well, hold on one sec. I found the picture of what I was thinking of.
Larry, have you seen this phenomenon though?
I have.
So, see, she's doing the exact same thing in this shot as that chick was doing in that video.
Well, at least she's holding it further away from her face.
Well, yeah. And she's using a stunt bow.
Yeah.
So Uncle Elon has set up a charity to pay the $8 for celebrities who can't afford $8.
Yeah. No. Stephen King can't afford $8.
Jason Alexander, though not the actual Jason Alexander, can't afford $8.
Yeah. Who was the crazy one? Charlie Sheen.
Charlie Sheen thanked him for giving him the gift of $8.
Okay. He was kind of crying about the $8. Tony Hawk was upset about the $8.
Tony Hawk might actually not be able to afford $8.
That's true.
I think that's more because didn't he have a wife who took a bunch of his money?
That and his relevance has passed very, very hard. It's like once you can't actually do your sport anymore because you're too old, people don't give a shit. Especially when your sport in question is fucking extreme sports skateboarding.
And there's just been a general exposure of how fragile some of these people can be over their $8 check mark. And I can't tell with some of them if it's better or worse when Daddy Elon gives it back to them.
Well, this brings us back to the question of Chinaman, because the actual question is how many calls has Elon gotten from Chinese people trying to negotiate him down into paying, the money himself.
Or it's like this:
$3.15 for a discount. We get a big
it's
discount.
like this, though.
Right.
The Chinamen need it for their bot farms.
No, I'm just saying, Twitter got no curation. I give you $4.
Yeah.
But several people asked Elon that if we contributed to the fund for poor celebrities, can we get like one of those packets like Save the Children had?
Mm-hmm.
So we can see our celebrity that we're giving $8 for.
Yeah. Stephen King clapped back at Elon on Twitter saying that he should donate the $8 to Ukraine, and Elon's like, already donated like $100 million to Ukraine. How much more do you want me to give him? Give him some of your own money, Steve. Or he just asked how much Steve had given them, and that gave me a chuckle. The man has his own personal playground to troll in, and I'm here for it, ladies and gentlemen. It's not having Trump back on Twitter as the president, but it's the next best thing. Jack Dorsey wasn't verified for a time. Journos are getting fact checked like normal people, and it's hilarious.
Did you see the president getting fact checked? That was so good.
That was so good. Yes, but it's a new era, and it's a different platform, and I'm here for it. Everybody said that Twitter is dead. I'm here for it. The king is dead. Long live the king.
Well, the thing is, Twitter's exactly the same as it was before.
Broken?
No. It's the same quality of service. There have been a couple of outages, but when I think about it, I've had less Twitter outages than I've had Discord outages.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's usually only for a couple hours instead of a couple of days. But I don't know. It's been a week. I don't know how good I feel about it. Um, again, we started strong with some feel good stuff about a TV show that just does everything right because it's in Florida, and you know this is where we are, and I don't appreciate how we got here. To be completely honest with all of you, I'm disappointed in you. I have to go kill myself 18 times.
Wait, you're disappointed in us? What did we do?
Didn't we do this episode, Rune?
I mean, I'm
It's
just
so
I'm just a
awful.
little boy
All of
playing
it's
Diablo. I'm not doing nothing wrong.
all of it's so terrible, and I don't like it.
What's wrong with
Hey,
Diablo,
church.
What's,
I didn't bring up the Spider-Man stuff this show.
what's
Oh,
what's
I've
wrong?
Prevented something horrible from coming forward.
What's wrong with Diablo Americans, Church?
Let's close out with the Spider-Man stuff. What you got?
Okay.
Well, the current writer of Spider-Man, the one who's given Mary Jane a husband and kids, said he's been told by other people he needs to go into hiding after he does what he's going to do in May.
Oh,
And everybody's saying, like, they're going to kill Mary Jane, aren't they? This is not confirmed yet, but based on the way he's acting, everybody thinks Marvel's going to have him kill Mary Jane.
let's do a little bit of research here live on air, folks, since we haven't really done this in a while. Marvel comic sales. Which Spider-Man title is this supposed to happen in?
I don't know because I've stopped reading Spider-Man since One More Day.
Let's just go with Amazing Spider-Man. That's typically the and okay. Come on, give me Spider-Man sales. I want Spider-Man sales.
Spooter sales.
They're giving me some for 2022. Are there no? Here we go. Single issue comic book sales rankings. We'll go back to January. That's close enough back. Spider-Man's not in the top 10. Spider-Man number 4 is number 12. So it's a 65 to 50,000. Okay, Amazing Spider-Man. Amazing Spider-Man's number 26, so that's typically a range of 49 to 30,000 units. So anywhere from 30 to 50,000 units. With that number out there for January of 2023, I just have a question. Who the fuck cares?
Well,
less than 50,000 people read the titular Spider book.
Well, here's the sad joke, Church. We all know what they have to do to unmake those numbers, and they won't do it.
No, we don't.
For pride.
Here's the thing: where no matter what advice you could give somebody, you can't make them go back to 2005 and implement the advice. It doesn't matter now. They can take all the good advice in the world, and it would not change the way that comics are going.
No, Church. I know this to be true. There are multiple media sources that have done this and then fucked it up again by going back to form. All they have to do is say, we're undoing One More Day, guys. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what they do. It doesn't matter how they do. It doesn't matter how bad it is. All they have to say is that they're undoing it. And everyone who said that they will no longer ever read Spider-Man will race to pick it the fuck up.
But the problem is, man, like it's what 150,000 units for number one selling comic.
They'll do it anyway. It has nothing to do with logic. It has to do with compulsive need.
You understand that that number would have gotten you laughed out of Marvel Comics 20 years ago, right?
Yes. I also understand that 20 years ago, Marvel was an actual company that actually worked.
Right. So what the problem is, and I think I'll end my bit after this, but the blue check mark thing got me into a fucking tizzy. No matter what you do to try and improve the numbers, Amazing Spider-Man 17 was the top book of January 2023. So we'll be generous and say 200,000 units, right? That's a fifth of what the top comic book was 20 years prior in 2000, maybe. Let's see how right I am on that. January 2000, 23 years ago. Amazing Spider-Man sales. Amazing Spider-Man number 13. Oh, it only sold 56,000 units. So it's been this number forever. So it didn't even matter back then.
But we can make people watch Spider-Man again.
We
can make people read it again.
The number one sales for Uncanny X-Men were 113,000. Comic books have been dead for 20 years, guys. There's no fixing it anymore. Like no, I mean they started dying in the 90s, but I think we could have officially pulled the plug into the 2000s and nobody would have cared. We've just been fighting the battle that long because we love them and we're part of that 100,000 back then. We've replaced ourselves, but there's no more growing fan base.
We are the lost generation as far as comics go.
I don't know. It's disappointing. And there's no fixing it. So I don't even understand.
Good job, Larry. You've given Church the sad face.
No,
I told Church no. I said we don't want to bring this up, and Church said no, bring it up.
Yeah, I wanted to just drive it home. There was no hope there was no hope for comic books anymore.
So I'm going to say the nerdiest thing I've said all night. So what you're saying, Church, is that there are no heroes left in men.
There are no heroes left in newsprint. You can have your indie comics, and they can be your heroes for as long as they can sustain it. But it's a lost leader. The only reason it's kept alive is for its IPs, and the fact that they're doing such terrible things with the stories now mean that they don't intend to keep the property alive long enough for these to make it to the big screen for any particular reason.
I mean, they never did. That is 100% true. It was always corporate rating. This is what postmodern piracy looks like, people, when it's not done by Cigarette Boat.
But I don't know. I mean, there'll always be something. There'll be some new medium that pops up, I think. It just hasn't come up yet. I don't think it'll be a revival of the comic book age. I don't think it'll be like a crystal age of comics where they just have this mid-2000s boom and everybody gets back into comic books. And if they do, it'll be because the medium's dead, and that will be the only reason that people come back and try and do it again. But they'll never catch on again, I don't think.
Well,
that's my prediction.
I have long held.
What about with what Razor Fist? What about what Razor Fist doing and calling it the new Iron Age or whatever the marketing was they were going with?
So no, I mean, there's a way to get comic books back, but first of all, we have to accept that comic books aren't gone. Just the type of comic books that are popular are not the ones we like. Dogman's out there.
Yeah.
Manga's out there.
I'm saying that, for us as an audience to get comic books back mainly because when we talk about comic books, I think it's kind of inferred that we're talking about Marvel and DC.
Let me
to call Scholastic into it's unfair.
let me tell you what's going to happen, Church. 5 to 10 years from now, Marvel and DC are going to shut down their comics operations. They're going to turn everything into a license. And then people are going to pay to have the right to make their own Spider-Man comic.
That'll never happen as long as Disney owns Marvel.
No. Disney's already been working out. They've been working out for the last 5 years, ironing out the final details on it. Warner's been doing the same thing. In 5 to 10 years from now, all of the comic IPs are going to be farmed out unless there's a movie or TV show coming out. And then the official branded ones will be released, and that will feed into the TV show, movie, and or video game. So we'll be able to get the right to make Spider-Man, but the Mexican version of Spider-Man with Gwen Stacy with a giant fat ass.
Hell yeah.
Make a comic on
that. I mean, this ultimately feeds back into other things I have said.
Dude, we could make her ass as fat as Ethan Ralph.
Because the problem is
I hate all of you so much.
Yeah, but I'm actually trying to say something coherent here, Church. Not shit posting. My name's not Ayrton. The thing is that in the first, this means we need that indies need to move away from the making a single book model to actually starting imprints and having long run comic books, and they need to have fucking submissions.
That takes a lot more work.
I'm aware, but the other thing is that comics need to get cheaper. By God, they need to get back into being common source for everyone, because right now there's a lot of sunk cost fallacy, and they are grievously overpriced.
Well, with inflation, a comic book probably should cost close to $5-6. Right?
No, not even close.
I'm basing it off of 2000 to now, not from the
just a second.
To now.
Comic price in 2000. So your typical price for a comic book was
$3, $4.
$2.25.
Okay, $2.25.
So we're gonna go to inflation calculator. So from the Government Bureau of Labor Statistics, $2.25 in January of 2000 is the same as $4 today. What's a comic book today?
$8, $9.
Now we're going to go to the year 1994. Comic price in 1994.
Were they still 75 cents or $1?
No, they weren't 75 cents or $1. Let me look here.
You said 94. That's like what? $2?
No,
175, $2.
No, I don't remember the exact price, but it wasn't that. Let me find it. Really? Why do you keep typing it wrong?
I want to say, I'm just an estimate. I'm not saying I'm correct. I want to say $2.50 on cover and like $3 at
it was
checkout.
$1.95.
Yeah.
So $1.95 in 1994 in today's money is $4.03.
Yeah. Okay.
So comic books are actually overpriced, adjusted for inflation. And let's go all the way back to 63, because in 63 they were like 25 cents, right?
Yeah.
Just a second.
Oh shit, that probably only put them at about $3.
Comic books, 25 cents. Up until 1961, most comics were 10 cents.
Yeah.
But let's say let me just see here, median comic prices by year. When were you born, Church?
87.
87. So the year Church was born.
Wait a minute. I'm older than Church?
Yes.
How the fuck does that happen?
Yeah.
I always forget. I'm sorry. I'm old.
So
Church is 1 year older than my RV.
So the comic prices when Church was born, if you adjust that for inflation, it's $4.13 in today's money. So comics were underpriced in 1986. if costs kept pace with inflation.
Yeah.
And if we go back to the year I was born, 1977, I'm going to use this here. Median price for comic books in 77 is 30 cents. $1.55 adjusted for inflation.
Nice.
The thing is not a railing against people getting paid a fair wage for fair work. It's not about the money, even though it's about the money.
Oh, I'll rage against that.
Comics today are overpriced.
It's the idea that what made comics successful was that they were media for the mass consumer. Everyone could get one, theoretically everywhere.
That's why I don't think that paper comics are ever going to come back the way they used to be. It's just not as convenient a medium.
I will abide electronic if the price comes down.
Let me dissuade you for a moment. Let's say we're going to talk about the 8-issue comic book run, right?
Mm-hmm.
An 8-issue comic book run is either a season of a streaming series or a movie, right, Church?
Yeah.
What's a movie spec script cost?
What now?
What's a movie spec script cost? Like a script that you pay somebody to make. Not this thing you pay them to produce, but like the first draft of a script.
What is that, 15, 20 grand?
10 to 15.
Yeah.
So what any 8-issue run of comic books needs to cost is 10 to 15 grand. No more, no less to make.
Okay.
So at the economy of scale that Marvel and DC have, they absolutely can make a run of any major comic book, like your Batman, Spider-Man, Superman.
Mm-hmm.
They could do that for that price point. So realistically, they're paying for their development for a movie and TV show, so they don't have to make a dime on any of those comic books. They could sell it at $2.99.
Mm-hmm.
Until the comic books start catching fire. And then they got reprints. Then they got graphic novels. So they can put the comics at a price point that it makes sense for Uncle Wally World to put them in there.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Do you know how many they have to sell at $8 a piece to make even?
No, we're not talking about
2,000.
making even.
I'm saying to break even, you have to sell less than 2,000. And if you're selling 50,000 as opposed to 500,000, then you only have to sell 2,000 to make major profits on 50,000 sales. With $8
we're not talking.
piece.
You don't even have to. But here's the thing: you don't need to think about this breaking even because you're already going to be making a script to have a Superman TV show to just sit there, a Batman TV show to just sit there.
A Batgirl TV show.
To just sit there. So you're already going to be paying that 10 to 15 grand. Now, we go to the future where it's licensing. Yeah, the guys who are doing the licensed Spider-Man marries Gwen Stacy with the fat Mexican ass comic book.
Yeah.
Those guys got to make some nice trade dress. They got to spice it up. Those guys are going to have to make some money off that book. But again, as Sir Mix-a-Lot taught us, even white boys got to shout.
Hell yeah.
So that comic book will sell a license fee to Marvel, and Marvel will probably have their license you give us a percentage of your profits over a certain dollar value. You can make comic books profitable. You just have to have the leadership to desire to do so. It is easier for Marvel Comics and DC Comics to run an unprofitable comic book division than it is to say, we want to make comic books profitable. We want to make comic books culturally relevant to people again.
By the way, Ayrton, do you snort that or do you put that under your tongue?
Yes.
I mean,
No,
didn't you see Cocaine Bear, Joe? You just eat that out with a giant iced teaspoon.
I don't disagree with you, Larry, that is a way that it could be done. I'm just stating the fact that it probably won't be done.
Well, it'll be done eventually because these companies are soon going to be running out of fake money to play with.
Well, we will discuss that on another issue, but
so guys, we have a scheme for show. We're going to do a table read of One More Day.
Oh yeah, we do need to talk about that.
And I'm gonna work on getting DC 4 or BC 14 onto the show in the next couple of weeks. I'm dead serious. I am doing this.
Oh Jesus!
You see, I sold Ayrton on the movie.
Hey, maybe
he was afraid I was going to spoil it.
You can get us some screener copies for some of his movies.
Oh, of course.
And who the fuck did you want me to be in One More Day, Ayrton?
You're MJ.
We're not gonna. Oh
Right.
God damn it! We weren't gonna spoil that. I was gonna end the broadcast.
I mean, I was trying to say I should be Mephisto, but whatever.
No. We're gonna get Dillard in to be Mephisto, so Mephisto could have that smooth Mexican voice.
Exactly. With a fat ass.
He's not Mephisto. He's Mexico's legally distinct counterpart.
He's Mephisto. Oh.
All right. With that, get us the fuck out of here.
Good night, everybody.